For the sum of two polynomial functions, let's suppose that we are given a function f of x defined by a polynomial and a function g of x defined by a polynomial. What this formula for the sum of two functions means is that we are creating a new function called f plus g from two known functions f and g, and the way we're creating this new function is by just adding the polynomials to get a formula for our new function. So it's telling us to take f of x plus g of x, which means that we can take the polynomials representing both f and g and add them together. So over here where we're asked to find f plus g of x, the first thing we can do is say, okay, this is the same thing as saying f of x plus g of x, and then we can replace each of these with the polynomial that it represents. F of x is defined by the polynomial negative 4x cubed plus 7. I'm going to go ahead and put these in parentheses, even though in the case where we're adding, the parentheses turn out not to be necessary. It's still a good habit. G of x is defined by the polynomial function negative 2x squared minus 10. So in order to find this new function f plus g of x, I just need to add these two polynomials, which comes down to combining like terms. In the final addition step, I'm just going to write the terms in order of descending powers. So negative 4x cubed first, negative 2x squared second, and the plus 7 with the minus 10 combined to give me a negative 3. So this formula now is the function f plus g of x. To go on to the next part, since we already have the function f plus g of x, which we can write down, f plus g of x is equal to negative 4x cubed minus 2x squared minus 3. The easiest way to answer the next question is to go ahead and take our input value of negative 2 and just plug it in for x in the function. So that we will take this function and evaluate it at x equals negative 2. That's going to be negative 4 times x cubed minus 2 times x squared, and then minus 3, and filling in our value negative 2 for these x's gives us the expression that we want to evaluate. So that after a few steps of evaluating, we can see that we get f plus g of negative 2 is equal to 23. Going on then to the next question, we're asked to find the difference of the two functions. Again, we're creating a new function called f minus g, and the way we're creating this new function is by subtracting the polynomials that define the functions f and g. We're using the same f and g for this example that we used for adding polynomial functions. So in place of f of x, I'm going to use the polynomial negative 4x cubed plus 7. In place of g of x, I'm going to use the polynomial negative 2x squared minus 10. First, I write this as f of x minus g of x, and then I can substitute in to this expression each polynomial. Negative 4x cubed plus 7 minus negative 2x squared minus 10. Now the parentheses that I'm using are much more important than they were in the last example because I am subtracting the entire polynomial which means it is absolutely critical that I distribute the sign to both terms in that subtracted polynomial. So let's go ahead and do this and combine like terms. Now rounding up the terms I have left, I get negative 4x cubed plus 2x squared, and my plus 7 and plus 10 terms combine to give me plus 17 for my constant term. Forgetting to distribute that sign into both terms of the subtracted polynomial is a very common mistake. And the reason is that this problem was not given to us with parentheses already in it. We had to know that in order to subtract the whole function g of x, it really means to subtract every part of g of x. Again, going on to the second question, it's going to make the most sense to plug this value of 3 in for x into our newly created function f minus g of x. So let's go ahead and do that and see where it takes us. F minus g of 3 is equal to negative 4 times 3 cubed plus 2 times 3 squared plus 17. That's going to be negative 4 times 27 plus 2 times 9 plus 17. So we get negative 108 plus 18 plus 17, which putting this all together should give us a negative 73. We have evaluated f minus g of 3 to be negative 73. If we wanted to give this as a very complete answer, we could just put the f minus g of 3 on this left-hand side of the equal sign.